So I'll wait till the water stops dripping, and there's a little plate underneath that you can pull off, because it did clean up pretty good in here, but all down the bottom in there, it's probably going to be hard to see. There's all big clumps of soil and dirt from over the years, so I want to pull that plate off, and then I'll give it another once over just to get all the shit out so it's clean again, and then we can start working on the exhaust, because I didn't video it, but we got in there and looked, and the actual manifold on the back of the motor is rusted out, and this pipe that connects the muffler to the manifold is rusted out too. So hopefully this muffler isn't. It has been fixed before, as you can see there, but I'm hoping that's not too bad, that I'll just buy a manifold for it and a new, I don't even know what you call that part, a connecting pipe, and then it'll be back to how it should be factory. So since washing it, it's been a couple months because I've had to order parts. I ended up pulling all the exhaust off, and like the muffler here was all rotted out, and this pipe actually snapped off, so I ended up ordering a whole new muffler. Like, I'm sure I could have like welded that back up and made it work, but I thought for the hassle of doing all that, I might as well buy a new one. Then I know like in a year or so it's not going to bugger up. But and the manifold, which I got in here, I thought this manifold was rusted out, but because that motor's been pulled out once before, they've broken this whole side off, and it's actually pretty easy to do. Like, I broke these ears off just by trying to lever the exhaust off, because it was actually stuck on there quite tight. So I ended up just buying a whole new exhaust, which is all here. Like, there's the little flexi pipe, there's a new manifold, and there's a new muffler. And I also got hydraulic filter and fuel filter, a couple new belts for it, because the old ones were actually new but rotted out. So I'd say they've put new belts on it, and because it's sat for X amount of years, they just got old and whatnot. And I also got some proper copper washers and some new bolts. I couldn't get the actual right length bolts for this, so I'll just have to cut them down, because if you leave them long, they rust up, and then you got no chance of getting them out. So we'll start putting that exhaust all on, and we'll put the belts back on, and we'll do all the filters. I am going to change the chain case oil in it, but I probably won't do the hydraulic oil, because hydraulic oil doesn't deteriorate. And I drained a heap out of it anyway when I did that fluid, because even though it's not ideal to do it, but while I had the hydraulic lines off where the front tilt cylinder was, I quickly drove it up the driveway while it was pissing oil. So probably a big no-no to the hydraulic people, but I had to get it in the driveway, and I didn't have the plug things for it. So I'd say that's near enough an oil change in itself. So looks a bit better than the old one. See, I reckon there's a design fault with this. Like, if you look at it straight on, you've got easy access to these bolts here, but you don't to these ones. They're sort of tucked up and around. Like, how are you going to get a ratchet on that or a socket on that when it's in the machine? Like, it would have been better if this pipe was centered to the flange, so at least you could get good access to both bolts. But of course they never do that, and they always make it hard for you. So anyway, we'll start off. We'll because I've got to cut those bolts down, we'll quickly just bolt that up so we can get a length, and then we can know where to cut them. So we've got to cut a good, I'd say 10 mil off at least. And normally when they poke out, the end sort of swells with rust. And like to try and get a grinder in there just to cut the end off later, it's too hard. So you even cut them a touch shorter, so that way they can't expand with rust. And generally you can get them out with a little bit of heat, or if you normally bash the end of the bolt with a hammer, you can get them off. But we'll cut them down just so we don't have those issues later, if we've ever got to take it off. I can't see why. You'd only ever take this off, I reckon, if you were pulling the motor out, but you can, there's a big like exhaust clamp on this end, so you'd normally just do that and leave this exhaust pipe all on. So and then we have it slightly pokes out at the end, but that'll be okay. So now we can cut the other three. All right, so we've got all four ready to go. Now we can put our exhaust manifold on. They must be the old gaskets, I think. Yep. Doesn't really sit that nice that way. I wonder if it goes that way. Yeah, oh no, that's the same. Just shit gaskets. They don't sit really that central to the hole, but anyway. That one's no better. Surely they've got to sit better than that. Good old Bobcat. All right. All right, so we got the manifold all bolted up. We got our exhaust pipe all bolted up. Now I can't stress enough, cleaning the back of the head, you got to be thorough with that. Like, it took me probably a good hour or so to clean the back of this head because it had a couple of old gaskets on there, and with a cast manifold like what's on this engine, any little bit of old lump of a gasket or something can just crack it, and then you're pretty much bin. Like, so you got to take your time, and it's probably easier in these just to pull the motor out. Like, if I was to do it again, I'd definitely pull the motor out. Like, it's only the 3 engine bolts, and then you just got to underbolt this plate, I'm pretty sure, which I was going to do, but then I thought, like, why make extra work for myself? But like, I literally lie on that bit of steel and try and do the bolts up. Like, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but I'm glad it's all done now. Like, all I got to do now is bolt up the muffler, which is super easy. And so this belt just drives the fan, like this pulley up the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's a big huge fan in here, which obviously cools the radiator. Put out. I should probably put the bolt back in that, because what tension it is literally just a, I don't know if that's factory, but that's how it was when I bought it. So I'll put it back on. Whether that's how it's actually meant to be or not, I don't know, but there is a bolt that goes in that. Is that how that went? I'm pretty sure it was. I suppose we'll just do that up there. Alright. The only problem with it though is I don't like how that chain rubs on that radiator pipe. That's my only concern. I wonder if it's meant to go like that way. But then I think I'll quickly bolt that radiator pipe back on, and then we'll see how it looks. What I'm going to do is, this is the obviously the bracket to pull the motor out. I think I'm just going to pull that off, because I don't like the chain pulling up on the radiator pipe. Like, over time and movement, that's not ideal. At least there, it's not hitting anything. It's right away forward. Like, it doesn't hit at all, even if it bounces up. If worst case, it's going to hit the hose clamp and probably rub that away and break, and then I'll lose all the coolant. But anyway, we'll just nip this 12 up here, and I think that'll do. So I've got a problem with this muffler. These ears are too short, and I cut the end off just to slide it in, because I thought, oh, the bolt might only need to go a couple mil, but not really. It's about 15 mil too short. So This side is all right. Like, I cut them ears off, but the bolt sits right in, which is, I'm happy with that. But I'm gonna have to extend this, which is kind of annoying because this muffler was like 400 bucks. Like, it's not cheap at all, and it's wrong, and it is the right part number for this Bobcat. So I might get the old muffler, which is out here, and I might cut that off through there and then just weld this whole thing onto the other muffler. Oh, it's got a bit of weight. So I'm thinking we'll just cut it right through there. That way we can just weld our hole in line with the other hole, and that'll be problem solved. So let's quickly do that. So it's going to be something like that. So that's the outcome. I didn't actually click record on my camera when I welded this up, so you didn't see me weld it on. But I reckon it turned out all right, and now we can bolt it all on. All right, that's all bolted up. Now let's start. Before we change all the oils, I just want to start it and make sure there's no leaks. I've already loosened these, that's why they're so easy to turn. While we've got this hydraulic filter, we'll just, I'm gonna get a container and pour it in and just see what kind of goodies come out. All right, that's surprisingly pretty clean. It's a little bit on our seal. Normally I'd just do these up by hand, but being hydraulic, I'll just nip it up with this. Next we'll do the fuel filter. I'm pretty sure I already loosened this. Yep. It's hard to tell in there, but there's actually a whole bunch of crap in there. I don't know if that's actually rust or not, but oh yeah, it is. That filter's all rusted inside. And finally we'll do the engine oil. Which is black. He reckons this hadn't had an oil change in over 5 years, so actually it doesn't feel too bad. Normally in the diesel so long it'd get really gritty and sooty, but we'll just get a touch of this oil, put it on. Oh, that's our filter's done. Now we got to, actually it's right here, I already pulled it out. That's how we drain our oil. There's a little hydraulic line to the bottom of the sump, and we'll just crack that fitting there, which is covered in shit. And then Jesus. Geez, they've done that up tight. Oh, that's going to be a slow process draining that. I wonder if I crack the cap. Either it's so thick and sludgy. Oh yeah, that doesn't feel so good. I wonder if that's why it drains so slow. I might just leave that for a while. So I forgot to click record again, but I'm just draining the coolant out of it all, which there's actually a little valve that it was completely blocked up with like rust and grime and dirt and stuff. So I thought I had the camera recording, but yeah, I didn't. So but the end of this valve here was full of crud, and then I poked a screwdriver in the hole in there, and that's when it shot out. And yeah, I went to grab the camera and it wasn't on, so but that's all right. I've got some coolant to put back in it, so I might put the hose in the top radiator and just flush it a few times, and then it's actually kind of good that it's not all rusty. I thought oh, but you can smell a little bit of coolant in it, so I've put a bit of goo back on this brass tap. So well, it's good that all works now. So the coolant I normally buy this in a 20 litre drum, but it's a concentrated coolant, so it's not mixed. So I'll probably put about half of this in and the rest water. I'll just fill it up for now. I've got to wait till the oil's still draining. Once I put new oil in, I can at least run it up and get it hot, and then the thermostat will open, coolant will run through everything, and I'll double check the level then. So I left the oil overnight. We'll just do this back up now. It really needs a new end on this. It's a bit buggered. Alright, and that just pushes in there like that. She's still dry. Hopefully I got enough oil. Alright, we're about halfway on the dipstick. We'll just go till we're full, and then we'll start it up just so the oil filter fills up. Before we can start it though, we'll have to quickly bleed the fuel up. So there's actually a hand primer here. We'll crack the bleeder on the fuel filter, and then we'll just crack an injector, and hopefully that fuel primer pumps it up enough to up there, and that'll fire then. Oh, you can hear the air already. You can sort of hear the air coming out. There we go. I think this is a bleed valve. We'll crank that open. There you go. It's just starting to come out here now. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Look at that, fired straight up. And it's probably going to need another oil change very soon, because the oil in it was black as. See, that's slowly rising now, so I'll leave that. Geez, lucky I ordered a new one. That's filthy. I wonder what this filter's going to look like. Yep, absolutely filthy. So that's what it should look like. It is the same, isn't it? Yeah. That's annoying, it's already all dinted. I didn't see that before. It must have come like that in the post. All right, let's get into doing this chain case oil. There's the drain there, and that's our oil level. So what I'm going to do is undo this plate right here that our handbrake's on, and we'll have good access to it, and hopefully I got a pump or something to pump it out. If not, because Dad, he went down the farm, I was going to get him to lift the back up with the forklift, but we'll see how we go. We'll pull that plate off and see how far we can get. There we go. I'll have to get a new one of those. Got all the dirt. I don't know how the bolt's meant to come out because it actually hits the body of the machine. I don't know, it just squeezes out. So there we have it. It's that colour because it's full of water. And it's actually low on oil because that's the fill plug there. Not the fill plug, but you fill this like you fill a diff in your car or a gearbox. You wait till it leaks out that front nut. So what I'll do is hopefully I can just use like a trolley jack and jack the back up as much as possible. So we're up a little bit, which we're over the fill plug now, which is good. What's all that stuff? Just grime. We'll try and go up as high as we can, but I don't know how the capacity of this jack. Oh, 2 ton. Feels like she's on breaking point. It's like coffee. I'm getting all the sludge and stuff at the bottom doing this way. Ideally it would have been better to take the other cover off as well and just give it a wipe, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse than this, but it's really just got like a little bit of crud just like from wear and tear over the years, but it's not bad at all really. Alright, so this is the oil I got for the chain case. So like I said before, there should be about 32 litres or something here. This is just engine oil. This is what Bobcat recommended for me. Not this particular oil, I just got the cheapest oil I could get. So we'll just start filling it up and see how much we use. I'd say that was just perfect, that amount. I'm just below the drain, the fill plug there, and the machine is slightly on an angle back, so I'd say that's perfect. I'm happy with that. And it looks a bit better than the milky coffee stuff we got out of it. So now we'll just clean up that lid, clean up the housing there, and we can put it all back together, and that'll be done then, I think. The end of my silicon, it's got a split. I'm gonna have to cut that off. All right. Oh. Not sure why they were so tight, but they're on now. Let's just double check the 4-in-1 works. Oh, that's everything all done. All the oils, everything except the hydraulic oil, which is a little bit low now. So I just got to top that up, but I've got some on order and that should come within the next couple of days. But I'll do that off camera so you won't see me do that. But all the pins in the front are all nice and tight now, which is good. The actual loader arm is slightly bent. You can see, you probably won't be able to see on camera, it's slightly to one side, but it normally would annoy me because it's just going down the farm. It's not such a big deal, and I didn't pay much for this, so I'm not too fussed. Now, there is one weeping axle seal in it, but I was going to leave that for now, and because I think that's the one where it's got a slight little slop in the wheel bearing as well. So I was just going to leave that for the minute, because while the weather's starting to get warmer and warmer here, we want to get the we need to pour a big slab at the farm, so we've got to use this to dig it all out, and then we'll box it up and pour it. So, but anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.